So moved.
Moved by Sixberry.
Second.
Second by Shabilian. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any open forum? Okay. Having no open forum, we'll move to the consent agenda. The previous minutes from the September 24th regular board meeting, claims and accounts in the amount of $1,166,216.11, credit card report, and the personnel report.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Okay, motion made by Shabilian, second by Sixberry. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to donations. I will make a motion to approve the donations.
Second.
Second by Brown. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Mark.
Madam Chair, members of the board, as Mark makes his way up here, action-packed for activities tonight. Not only does he have 3 agenda items coming up here to talk about, but he also has a section volleyball game starting in T-minus 28 minutes. So
So if I talk fast, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
he's a busy guy, but it's good stuff today.
Well,
So
thank you for the opportunity once again before you this evening. First item before you is Form A from the Minnesota State High School League. And this is through their foundation, and we have the opportunity to apply for grants or funding from the high school league. The Grant A, or Form A, is based on our student participation and the students on free and reduced lunch. And that's based off our MPE numbers. And then I also figure in the students that are that we waive scholarship, their participation. So it's a nice give back from the foundation. This was set way back when the Twins organization was building the Twins Stadium, and it has stayed in existence. Now that legislation is sunsetting, so it'll be interesting to see what this next legislative session happens. But that's Form A. Form B before you is a little bit different of a resolution. Again, it's through the foundation, and we can apply for things that can enhance our program specifically for students. So last year, the grant that I applied for was to help us fund the Premier Sports Psychology Program, and I'm going to do that again with this foundation plus some help from Spudfest. So those $2 amounts will help us look at the sports psychology and keep that going hopefully for next year as well. But again, I'm holding on to see what we get for funding out of both. This one can be upwards of $5,000 is what they capped the second one at. So that's just a resolution for you this evening.
Can you clarify, so on the Form A, does that go, do you apply those dollars directly to the students we have that have lower activity fees, or is it a general put into your
No,
fund?
actually,
or how?
you can use it within your department as you see fit. Like we have the Mississippi 8 Leadership Conference within the conference, so I use some of those dollars to help pay for the registration for those students, also pay for the transportation for those students. And then I also use it for athletic programs and fine arts programs that might not have funding for their program. Could be some help for one-act play, robotics, and that type of thing too. So it helps me subsidize some of their needs as well.
Awesome, I wasn't sure if, thanks for the explanation.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if
no.
it had to be a direct to or if it was
No.
a general.
So those are 2 grants that we'll have you acknowledge for us this evening. The next item, any other questions about that one?
Do we need to vote separately on each of them?
I would say
They're
yes.
resolutions.
As a
Okay.
resolution,
So
yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve Form A and Form B of the MSHSL resolutions.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Sixberry, second by Brown. Should we vote separate though on each of them, or can we vote together?
I think we should too.
I think we should use them.
Okay, we will vote separately. Okay, for Form A, roll call vote, Sixberry,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Shabilian,
Aye.
Reesner, aye. Brown?
Aye.
Hancock?
Aye.
Okay, motion A carries. Motion B, Sixberry,
Aye.
or Form B. Nelson?
Aye.
Schbillion?
Aye.
Reesner, aye. Brown?
Aye.
And Hancock?
Aye.
Okay, that that resolution carries too. Okay.
Next item up is the cooperative sponsorship application that we are doing with Monticello, Becker, and Big Lake and Boys Swim and Dive. We had in our student interest survey last spring, 3 to 4 students that expressed interest in grades 7 through 12, or excuse me, 7 through 11th grade that would be interested in boys swim. Early this fall, we had some of the students and parents come forward. Becker was looking at dissolving their co-op with St. Cloud, and so Monticello was in the largest school classification right now in boys swim, so they're like, yep, more the merrier. So I approached them to see if they would be interested in the co-op with us for 2 years, and we will see where Monticello falls in enrollment after that. If their enrollment goes down and it changes their classification, we might be back here dissolving it, because if our enrollment pushes them up a class, they're not interested in that. So that's just something we'll have to watch 2 years down the road. But we do have 2 or 3 other elementary age students that are interested in swim in the future for us too, that we know of that have already been in contact with me. Again, this is to help keep our students here at Big Lake and not open enroll to Elk River, Becker, or Monticello to get their swim experience. So, any questions on that one?
As far as like a feeder program, I mean, how would people know that we offer this? I mean, in the younger grades?
First of all, I put it out there to the middle schools and to the high school on our social media and also on our announcements, and that's how we initially got some of the names we did. There is a couple of swim clubs locally that have students from Big Lake already in the programming, so hopefully that will be a feeder system for us as we move along. As you can see, I also want to mention the terms and conditions. As we were talking, of course, the students with the parent guardian would be responsible for the transportation to get their child to practice at Monticello every day and to the competitions. We will get a cost per participant at the end of the season, and we have in there that we will assess the parent guardian. Hopefully within 90 days, Monticello will have that wrapped up and can invoice us the cost per participant. Then we will collect that from the parent or guardian. Our girls swim program last year was about $500 cost per participant. So I'm going to give that as a estimate to these parents that could be the dollar amount above their participation fee that they will be doing. And then again, we're hoping that these students, they're going to register with us, pay our fees in conjunction with what the fee should be at Monticello. So I don't think it's fair. Big Lake kids are charged, we charge one participation fee, Becker charges a different, and Monticello charges a third. I think that could end up pitting parents against parents or students against students with that. So still working on that piece of it, but our agreement verbally is we're going to pay the Monticello participation fee rate.
What about, so you mentioned transportation to the practice, what about transportation to the meets? Is that included as a registration fee?
That is right, correct. They will still have to get to the pickup site at Monticello for those away meets, but transportation will be provided to or from those meets by Monticello.
I'm assuming it's like hockey where they have to meet at a central location.
What are the girls swim team that we have on site, what is the participation cost for that?
About $500 per participant.
It is, so it would be a comparable price
Yeah,
for a girls
based
swimmer
on
versus
the
boys
numbers
swimmer.
that we're anticipating in the Monticello program, it's about the same as what we have within our girls program here. So
Okay.
that's where I got that dollar amount from. So
Okay, any other questions? Okay.
I'll make a motion for the resolution for co-op boys swim dive.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Sixberry, second by Nelson. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Sixberry,
Aye.
Nelson,
Aye.
Shabilian,
Aye.
Reesner, aye. Brown,
Aye.
Hancock.
Aye.
That resolution passes.
Okay, the last item is the Minnesota State High School League Emerging Sports. And a sport that just fit into this emerging status was boys volleyball. Wrestling is a little bit different. About 7-8 years ago, I changed the bylaw in the high school league to allow girls to have a certain number of girls-only events in the regular season. And right now, that sits at 8. And on my advisory committee that I'm on with the executives from the high school league, we have schools from all over Minnesota that are advising the state of girls wrestling. So I want to be full disclosure, I do have the inside scoop on this, but I'm bringing this to you as this is a sport that's growing leaps and bounds for us. And currently, they can participate on boys teams during the regular season, get the postseason, and they either can go into the girls tournament or they can go into the boys tournament. They can't do both. In 2017, we feel we're going to have enough girls teams in Minnesota that we're going to have to sunset that. And so what this emerging status says is Big Lake interested in girls wrestling down the road? It could mean for us a co-op, just like what we did in boys swim, or it could mean that we have 15 to 20 girls and all of a sudden we have their own team and they can compete in the dual meet competition and tournaments by themselves. But our goal is by 2017 on this committee that girls will be their own. 2027, thank you. Good catch. Somebody's listening to me. That by 2027, we will have enough schools that are interested in girls wrestling. I get a weekly update. Right now we're at 24. We need a minimum of 32. And many school districts are going through this process, as we are tonight, to validate. They have girls in their program currently or see them coming. And so, yeah, that's where we're at with this one.
We just talked about it.
Yeah, we did. It's not gonna be, I don't foresee it as an issue at all.
No, I see
They'll hit
this
the
just
goal.
getting bigger and bigger.
It is.
But just to clarify, it's not to start a team, this is just saying we are interested in doing it in the future.
Yes.
We already have
some
girl
form,
wrestlers.
One way or another
We
in
don't
the
have
future.
girls like wrestling coach.
No.
No, we don't.
I mean, like a division, you know what I mean? We're
Like
not
you would-
starting the girls wrestling.
No, you would come back to us when they, in 2027.
Yeah, girls currently can wrestle on a boys team
Right.
right now. Have been for
Correct.
probably 20-some years. There's been girls wrestling in the boys category. But
I think what she's wondering is if you go to a girls program, you'll come back and talk to us about it.
Yeah, in
Vote on it then.
2027, or the spring of 2027, we'll have to have a discussion of how many schools are interested in co-oping, or are we looking at a standalone program? And then, if it's a standalone program, we're gonna have to build the budget ahead of time for that, within that previous fiscal year to be ready for it, so.
Is there, with the level of interest that's already poking up, is there a possibility we could be having those conversations sooner than end of next year? Just to start laying the groundwork for some things?
Well, we certainly could, but again, the girls have the flexibility until 2027 with what they're doing right now. There is the Coaches Association this year will run the second annual state high school dual meet tournament for girls. They had 16 teams last year, and I know they're looking at possibly 32 this year. So there are schools that are fielding full teams already in Minnesota of girls only. So,
A lot of northern schools have full teams.
yeah. So, again, so this is just a commitment form. It doesn't mean that we have to, right now, say that we're going to have a standalone girls program, but we're just saying, we have girls, we're interested in continuing with
Yeah,
this.
that's awesome.
All right, awesome.
Okay,
Any
you just
other
want us to vote on this, that
No, this one doesn't need a vote, it's just gonna need a signature stating that we're interested in and pursuing it as is, so.
Okay. Which I'm assuming there's no objections to that?
No.
Okay. Okay, I signed it.
I did too. I did too, so.
So-
Tanya, I signed it, so.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Angie, your turn.
Oh, Angie is here.
Uh-huh. She's in the back, she's hiding.
Hiding behind the-
She's hiding behind the platform there, the podium.
Good evening. We got a short report tonight, so we'll start with enrollment. And good news is that we did increase 10 students or 10 AEMs from first day of school to October 1st. But we are still behind budget, and I know I reported last month that we were quite a bit far off from our budget. So I did a quick calculation just to give you an idea. Our budget gap is 77 right now. That's approximately $850,000. So next month will be a more lengthy financial report because I'm going to present a fall revision, and then that will include adjusting Gen Ed. But you know, we do other things at that time, like we adjust staffing because we had a lot of estimates. We adjust for actuals. So I was going to point out too, our audit will also be presented next month, and we did have favorable results from last year that will help offset part of that. So it's not total gloom and doom. So I guess this is just what I wanted to mention to the board. But it's enrollment's not coming in where we expected. And then I just have a bullet point there that from September to October, that increase was mainly in Big Lake Online, 612 Big Lake Online, which is what we've been seeing throughout the last few years. So this just shows graphically the normal graph that you are used to seeing. You can see there's a big gap from that yellow line on top, so that's that budget gap. And then, as I guess as I already mentioned, just looking ahead, what's coming down the road, we'll have the audit presentation next month, revised budget. And I guess I already talked about that with decreased Gen Ed, we'll do our staffing adjustments, and then other miscellaneous adjustments for updated estimates, because when I was doing the budget back last April, maybe we got a lot better information. So you'll get all that next month. So other than that, I really did not have a lot this month. So unless there's any questions, I can answer the board.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report.
Motion made by Shabilian,
Second.
second by Nelson. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Angie.
TJ. Oh, no, wait, sorry. Data first. Minda, sorry, you get to wait.
You can run it. Easy one.
I think it'd be fun to watch TJ do your presentation.
Yeah, let's go. So, first of all, we're kind of, MBE is changing things up a little bit in a few different areas. And so one of those is World's Best Workforce changed over to the Comprehensive Achievement and Civic Readiness. And so that was always something that was either presented in November or December. We're looking at possibly doing that next year in October, so that will replace this one. I'm a little leery because next year we change ELA MCAs, and so this year our science ones were delayed, so we'll see. But
And
so
then
trying to
following
find our
that.
cadence of what your fall data presentation is going to look like, I changed it up a little bit, and I want to walk you through what our teachers are doing, because I know you've been curious about process and what we're doing for process, and a lot of things are really coming together right now, so you're going to get a two-part presentation, all for the price of one tonight. So here is your fall school board data presentation, along with our PWAGAS data dig that we do. So next slide. So this was actually the presentation that all of our teachers got, just as a reminder, and really taking that next step of how we've set our goals, and we're really working towards our goals, and now we're doing that data dig. So this isn't new to you either. You've seen this, but just presented to our teachers with a little more depth this year. So we're really tying it together with our MTSS, our data dig, our resources that we give them, and then also looking at our FastBridge benchmarks. And so with our MTSS, oh, that's interesting. So with our MTSS, A lot of what we do is really goal aligned, and our MTSS is very data driven, and we want teachers to remember that our data isn't something that we just look at 3 times a year, one and done, anything. It's what drives our instruction. It's what drives our framework. And we're starting to hear our teachers, our principals, our leaders getting very good at saying data-driven decision making. And so it's something that we just do. So as we're doing that, we need to increase our data literacy. What do we know about data? What's good data decisions compared to just what we think we're using it for? How do we embed it in the process of what we do? We also have a lot of different sources that we can go to get our data. EduClimber is our data warehouse. That's kind of our one-stop shop we start with, but we can still go into FastBridge and get some good reports and go right to that source. We can go to Otis where we can get some of our test scores, and then CSAP for our elementaries. And so we also have just our curriculum. All of our new curriculum platforms come with things that we can look at analytics and the data. So data is everywhere. So now we're really getting our data literacy of what do we want to look at? What do we want to tell for our story? And so that's where our goals and our action steps and our data are really starting to combine. We do in our PLCs every week, we're looking at data. And so we're making sure that that's really our foundation as long as our data digs 3 times a year. So then you've seen this. This is our PWAGIS. This is our data dig process. We haven't changed this. We've just tweaked it, fine-tuned it, and dug a little deeper. So on the next slide, it kind of gives us, we always start with just exploring what data we're going to look at. What's the source of our data? We try and make a prediction that gets our brains fired up for what do we think we're going to see. Some of it we've seen before, so we want to say what do we think happened, knowing what we know. Then we observe, and this is where we don't put those feelings. We just say, what is the data saying? So this many students were above, this many students were below. What is it saying? Then we wonder and hypothesize. Why do I think this happened? What do we know about what we've done that could have increased the data or shown our gaps? Then we look, is it action or just awareness? Not everything needs goals and not everything needs action steps. We would goal ourselves right out of a day. So we have to really look at it and say, we're just going to be aware of this, or that's something we're going to put a goal to, or that's something we're going to add into our action steps. And I always like to say, goals are based on students, action steps are based on adults. And so if we're making an action, it's what is the adult going to do in order to change the student's behavior in order to get the students to have higher scores. Then if we set a goal, or if we want to revisit a goal, or if we want to look at our action steps, that's our next step. So we are getting very good at the cadence of this process to drive what we do in both instruction, curriculum, and assessment. So I just wanted to walk you back through there. And then the next one, we actually gave some resources, and these were in links with all of our teachers. So here's what we can do for our walkthrough. Here's our analytics in the instruction side. There's a video if you'd rather learn this back with a video. So our teachers on their Data Dig Day had a lot of resources at their fingertips to do this, do it deeply, and do it well. So with that, now you get the second part. Here's our fall data. So looking at our literacy data, our early reading is changing because of the READ Act. We used to go with an early reading composite, but the state of Minnesota said what FastBridge has as a composite, the state of Minnesota is going to have something different. And we do this a lot in our state. And so, but I did want to show you some things that we're doing with our early reading. So even though I can't show you a composite score like we used to, I can pull out the word segmenting. And the word segmenting is important because that's really taking that skill of students knowing their phenomes and breaking them apart. And so you can see right now 46% of our kindergartners, and this is a more mid to end kindergarten goal, and we've already got 46% of our kids coming in. Huge shout out to our early childhood programming that we have at Big Lake schools. And then already 79% of our first graders. And now early reading, one thing we know about our K-1 students, they grow, and so all of their subtests change because of that fast growth. But if you've all been hanging out at my data presentations, you know that the number we're trying to hit is 80%. And so 79%.
Is that an
That was pretty
EduClimber?
impressive.
Is that
That
an
was pretty-
EduClimber graph?
That is EduClimber, yep, so this is all coming from EduClimber. So being we're asking our teachers to use it, I too am now using EduClimber.
I use it
for you.
daily, so.
Yeah, so there's our early reading. And then we're also, our A reading is what we take from 2nd to 10th grade. And so there you can see our A reading scores by grade. And this is fall, and remember, as we go, it's not the same test. Our tests get harder and harder. Even for 2nd graders, it gets harder. 3rd graders, it gets harder. That benchmark changes. And so, so I don't know if you've noticed, but our 9th and 10th grade data is right there. And that is the work of all of those teachers, of all of those administrators in our building, growing those kids to get there. So that's pretty impressive. So then I wanted you to see some longitudinal data. What's happening with our kids over time? So this isn't cohorted, this is grade level, so just building level. So at the high school, you can see over the last 3 years, our data has improved. At the middle school, we stayed stagnant, dipped a little bit this fall, and at Liberty we've made gains, and at Indy we've made gains. And then I also just had to pull out, we celebrate with some data wins, and so I let people tell me, like, what are your teachers excited about? And this was one of our big data wins in 2nd grade. So remember what's great about our 2nd graders? They started with CKLA in kindergarten. And so our 2nd graders have shown growth every year they've been here, and our 9th and 10th graders are both almost at 80%. And so that's huge. That's what we've been working on. We did not see this 4 years ago, and so that this is a testament to all of those teachers who have dug in, to have learned the new science of reading, to have taken those letters and OLA classes, and to work hard to get this. And this year now, even our middle school digging into new curriculum. And we know that new is hard, but it feels good when we're seeing some really good data to show that. So this is a win. So on to math. We still do math.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Yep.
So you're saying you're 24 and 25, so then is technically then that 10th grade showing from the fall of 23?
No, so these
those
are 23, 24, 25, 23, 24, 25, 23, 24, 25.
Okay.
So that's 2nd grade. The slide before that.
I don't spill a fine print.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the slide before that is high school, 23, 24, 25, middle school, 23, 24, 25, Liberty, 23, 24, 25, Indy, 23, 24, 25.
Okay.
So that's by building. And then the next one I just had to pull
So
out
it's
the
not
screen.
reflecting any students who are now like a junior or like now a senior?
Nope, this
Okay.
is not cohorted, this is the grade.
Okay.
So looking at those grade level standards. So yeah, and our 11th and 12th graders, the CAPT Read Basics, which is a literacy assessment we'll start giving now this winter, looking for characteristics of dyslexia. That does go all the way to 12th grade. FastBridge technically goes to 8th grade skill, but we know that we have our kiddos going past that, and so our 9th and 10th grade, we're building very small. If you look at test metrics, your early grades have this much growth, and then as you get into the higher grades, it's 1-2 points. It just gets smaller and smaller for their growth. So we do not do literacy assessments in 11th and 12th grade. So we gate them out in 9th and 10th. Did that answer your question?
It does. I
Okay.
was kind of wondering, like, could we like look back and just show like the history of like the students' progression, right? Like that's
want
kind of what I was-
You want
Cohort.
cohorted. The hard part about that is standards change, skills change, and there's so much change with that. And we have students moving in and out, and so it's not like, and we can. So we do that with MCAs. You'll see we kind of take a grade and go down and see how that class is doing. So MCAs, we cohort more than FastBridge is more built on skill. So this one doesn't give us great cohort data, but MCAs we will.
Okay.
So, all right, so on to math. So math, our early math, grades 1 and 2, take that early math, and those subtests always change. And so here is our kindergarten and 1st grade data this fall. And then we move from early math